listen on.
Shit.
You like that new intro music?
For the Jimmy era. Got to do something new.
I'd love to take credit for it, but I have no clue what I just hit to play that. With that said, it was exactly the type of smooth, calming music I needed. Some could say similar to Jimmy Butler's calming presence on this team. Guys, presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 when you use the promo code. Welcome to Light Years, a post All-Star break Light Years. You know what I realized on our second half preview pod? I forgot to ask you, what was your prediction for their record to close out the season? I did tweet out that my prediction was 18-9. I thought they'd win twice as many games as they lose, which would put them at 21-10 in the post-Jimmy era, 46 wins. It's neither here nor there. I felt like that prediction's both ambitious and selling it too low. And when you see them against a team like the Sacramento Kings in a game where, quite frankly, Steph was in more facilitator mode than anything, they were selling out for him. Jimmy, did he end up with 20 points? It didn't feel like he was trying at all to score, and quite frankly, trying pretty poorly in the first half. 17, sorry. In a game where neither of those guys were really asserting their will as scoring options, they controlled the game, 26 points, and it felt like a 30-point blowout majority of the game.
Sam, we are so fucking back.
We
are so back. And there's so many directions we can take this. I mean, Podz, Moody, Steph, Buddy, Draymond, Jimmy, like everybody. It was a full team performance. That was an absolute beatdown in a game that matters to both teams, like tied in the standings coming into tonight. And that was, like you said, from the opening tip, basically.
Not anymore.
Early. Yeah, not anymore. I mean, DeRozan got hot early, but outside of that, it was absolute control and domination of that game from the Warriors. That was as impressive as they've looked since the beginning of the season, like legitimately, since probably October or November.
It reminded me of the 2015 Warriors, not in the explosiveness factor because they don't have a Klay Thompson. And Klay just gets hot like very few players in NBA history and adds like an extra dimension. But in terms of just IQ and their ability to dissect the opponent, that's like the part that I was like, this is repeatable. They'll play better teams. They'll play defenses that make them work a little harder generally, but like just okay, you're going to sell out against Steph. All right, cool. We'll beat you in a way that they couldn't do before Jimmy. When teams would sell out against Steph, this team was lacking a guy who not just had the IQ, but like the skill set to actually take that and just move the ball, find the hot man, find the guy who's open. Tonight it was mostly Moses, Moody, and Podz, but Buddy was also a huge beneficiary. And like, let's be honest, most of these guys are role players meant to play off of someone. So that's the Jimmy Butler difference right there. He didn't really assert himself offensively. He just kind of like, all right, you're going to sell it on Steph. I'll get everyone else going. We'll hit 15 guys scoring 15 plus points.
Yeah. And I mean, good teams like Sac, especially ones with offensive firepower, they're always going to make a run. But the difference was tonight when Sac makes that run in the early third, the Warriors could actually score on the other end. We've seen that movie a ton of times this year where another team gets hot and then you can't score on the other end. And now that avalanche starts. Jimmy had a couple buckets there midway through the third, a little like spinning banker, and then a little mid-range when it got to like 9 or 11. And then from there, the route was kind of on. But yeah, I think just like the collective IQ is really paying dividends. Like you got 4 incredibly smart players in that starting lineup. And you can really say 5 with Moody, but Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, and Podz are all like elite top tier IQ guys. And that just makes the game so much easier. And Jimmy is just, he's spectacular, man. He doesn't even have to try that hard, and he gets 17 points. What do you end up with? 17, 7 assists. Didn't rebound great tonight. 3 rebounds, 3 steals. He's elite on the backside defensively.
It felt
Always
like
making
six. It
plays.
felt like 6 steal. It felt like there was like 6 or
Yeah,
7 plays where his ability to read it led to a turnover, which got them out in transition, even if you didn't get credited for a steal. Like very Iguodala-esque
yeah.
defensively that way, where it's just like the combo of him and Draymond is fucking hell for you if you're in any way loose or telegraphed with the ball.
100%. I think the Kings ended up with 21 turnovers tonight, and come out of the gate, and DeRozan's like scorching. And in my head, I'm like, man, like they really are missing a point of attack defender, and like I think that's still kind of true. But at the same time, the fact that they're so smart and now so connected defensively with Draymond and Jimmy quarterbacking everything, I think you can make up for that for the most part. There's probably going to be some nights where they get lit up like Kyrie did a couple weeks ago, but I think the collectiveness of the smarts and the way that they're just on a string defensively, you can shut off a lot of problems, even if your point of attack defense isn't perfect.
I got a take for you. Off-ball defense is more important than point of attack defense.
Ooh, that's a change of tune for you.
Is it a change of tune for me?
A little bit, a little bit.
When have I
Absolutely.
been you're not going to come out here and proclaim me Mr. POA. That's not who I am. No, look, they're both important. Like I'm gonna hedge it and be kind of nuanced about it. Like obviously they're both important. All aspects of the game are important. Rebounding is important. Ability to space the floor is important. Like all these things are important. But if you're asking me, would I rather have the ability to rotate and take away what you're doing off ball, or have a guy who can guard on an island? I'm going to take the latter because I watched this team for 3 years. Wiggins is a pretty good point of attack defender. He can definitely stay with the more elite ball handlers, and this team will just get scorched. Why? Because missed rotation, open corner 3, missed rotation. Like this is a drive and kick league where it's like it's not the first action that kills you, it's the swing open shot that kills you. Whereas like I've seen this Warriors team win a lot of games over the last decade where James Harden had 47 points.
Yeah.
And no one else did anything. So, like, yes, in a perfect world, I'd love to have healthy D'Anthony Melton, or honestly still keep Wiggins on this team and have Butler. Then I would feel confident that they have the best defense in the league and it's a championship caliber defense. But if you're asking me, would I rather have the ability to guard the ball but make all these mistakes on the backside rotation wise, or be like lights out with your rotation, smart, play the passing lanes and do all the things that we're seeing kind of a Jimmy and Draymond defense do? But, you got guys like Moody, Podz, who work their ass off, but they're just like a level below the caliber of a Melton or a Wiggins defensively. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to go with the gimme the guy with the high IQ, and I'll live with the fact that Shea's probably going to put up 40 a game against this team, because I feel pretty confident Caruso, Dort, and those guys, I don't know why I'm fixated on the Thunder, but like I'm using as an example, I feel pretty confident the Thunder's ability to play off of Shea is going to be really hampered against a team like the Warriors.
Yeah, and I think what people miss is like most of the defense is played off ball. You're not guarding the ball most of the time when you're on defense. So like it generally is more important. And there was multiple possessions tonight where like they did get beat off the dribble, but the rotations were so tight and they were so on a string that they got like shot clock violations. I want to say the Kings had 4 or 5 shot clock violations in that game. So yeah, I mean, I've always been more of a proponent of off ball defense. It doesn't get talked about as much because people are watching the ball. Like that's just what's going to happen. But yeah, I was just so impressed, especially as the game wore on. I think that's really the thing with a team that's so good collectively defensively and so good off the ball. It doesn't necessarily show early in games, but later in games, like those rotations just stay tight, and then you start to almost wear the opponent down. And I think that's what we saw tonight.
And so let me just ask you this, because they've played kind of a soft schedule. I mean, Houston's a good team, but since they've got Jimmy, it's been a soft schedule, and the Kings are not trending in a great direction. Like, I think they're going to end the year around 500. They may or may not be in the play-in. But this is a team you fancy yourself being better than going forward. At what point do we believe in this? Like, I believe in it because I believed in it before the trade. But at what point are we taking this and going, this is real. Like, what do you need to see? How many games do you need to see? What level of opponent? You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. And Dallas is obviously a nice test on Sunday.
Sure.
They're missing a ton
I
of
mean,
guys. But
Kyrie did kill. Kyrie did kill. That was their one loss, and that did kind of expose the point of attack issues.
Yeah, and I mean, even though they're missing AD, they're missing Lively, they're missing Gafford. Like they're still playing good ball. They just beat the Pels tonight. Like I don't think they've lost since AD's gone down. Maybe one loss, but they're playing good ball. But I think around like 10 game mark, like check back in then. And if they're like 8-2 after 10 games, then it's like, okay, this is something that's very real. And like Draymond said, they might win the championship. Like if they go 8-2 over these next 10, I'm serious though. If they go 8-2 over these next 10, I would feel very confident about them in a playoff series against anybody.
What do you think Jimmy's at right now? 70%?
Yeah, 70, 75 maybe. And like he's kind of a guy that works himself into games anyway. Like he's not, he's not really, not until the playoffs at least. He doesn't like aggressively hunt his shot. He doesn't want to. He's kind of like Andre in that way. Like obviously he has way more offensive firepower. He's way more skilled. He's a great finisher. He's a better ball handler than Andre was, at least in the lane, has a tighter handle, but
stronger. He's just a stronger finisher. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Andre could have some clay up style layups from time to time if he was in traffic. But yeah, I'd say like 70, 75%, but he's going to have some nice runway here to work himself into shape. Cause they got, is it 26 games left now? Like he should be ready to go. Eric in the chat, Jimmy is 100% happy. Absolutely.
70% in shape, 100% happy. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like it was yeah, I think I'm probably there with you. I think he's 75. Like he's in good enough shape to continually impact the game, make winning plays. There's another 2 levels he can get to. There's like in my opinion, there's another level he can get to in terms of like regular season all-star caliber Jimmy, and then there's playoff Jimmy where he could be a top 5 player in the league type of good. So, and
I think we saw some hints of it tonight with just like some of the mid-range shots he made. Like that was like, oh, okay, there he is. You know what I mean? And he'll do that more consistently as the season kind of wears on and we get into the playoffs.
Yeah. 50-50, he opens a coffee shop. I mean, he came to the right city. I did like that. Did you notice that in his first interview about coming to the Warriors? Like, obviously, the first thing he talks about is Steph and to a lesser degree, Draymond and blah, blah. And then second thing, he's like, I know you guys got Blue Bottle out there. Good coffee culture. I was just like, this is my guy. He's going to be competing. Man. I need to go see I need a Big Face coffee pop up in the city. I expect one by the playoffs.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that's going to happen.
What neighborhood would it be? Definitely Soma. Gonna be Soma. Gonna be somewhere. He's gonna be taking advantage of Tech Bros. Very much into this. We'll see. Yeah. Before we move forward. Yeah, let's do a quick prize picks, and I got something for you.
All right. Light Years Podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So download the app today and use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you play your first $5. Prize Picks, run your game.
It's not lost on me that you said you'd rather have Zach LaVine than Jimmy Butler. And I respect your opinion. I think you know hoops. I know where you're coming with it in terms of you thought you would be able to keep Wiggins and have a little more rotational depth doing it. But with that said, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Just issue your apology right now.
I already did a week ago. I think after we potted after one of the games, and I already said I was wrong about it. I mean, I just wanted more scoring, and I think what I didn't account for was how much Jimmy was going to help Moses. And like I knew he was going to help Moses. I knew he was going to help Buddy. I knew he was going to help Podz. But the game looks so easy for those guys right now. And I think the biggest thing is like they shot the ball well tonight, right? Like I think 40% from three, somewhere around there. But it doesn't feel unsustainable because the quality of the looks was so good. And so much of that, obviously, Steph's getting doubled the half. That helps a lot. But so much of that is related to Jimmy, too. And just his presence on the floor, the way he gets paint touches, the way he play makes. And he's just making the game so much easier. And he's making everybody else better. So, yeah, I mean, Jimmy's just a way better player in general. So I shouldn't have. I overthought it. I have a tendency to do that, you know. So, but yeah, Jimmy, Zach, all the way.
They needed to. I mean, jokes aside, because I knew like you, me, and Andy all were of the perspective like, dude, just they need to shake it up. They need to bring a difference maker. And then everyone was just kind of arguing about which move they liked more from there moving forward. To me, the thing that was always most attractive about Jimmy was not his age, was not his contract demands, was not his coffee company. It was, I thought they needed a playmaker more than a scorer. Like they needed both, to be fair. I'm still wondering if they have enough scoring, but just like the ability to have someone who can actually run the offense, but isn't a 6-foot guard, that isn't Chris Paul, that isn't, you know, Dennis Schroeder is more of like a heat check guy than like can actually run offense. I think that's where you're really seeing it. And like, I feel like that it's a perfect dovetail to who's been the biggest beneficiary of Jimmy coming here. Obviously, Steph, who no longer apparently has knee tendonitis, which is amazing. But like, you know, Moses, Podz, Quentin Post. Quentin Post is, you know, playing more than he probably will when you get a playoff rotation. But like Moses Moody's a guy who needs to play 30 minutes a game on this team. And Podz probably needs to play 25 to 30 minutes a game when they get to the playoffs as well. And just watching the way they play off of Jimmy, like this doesn't feel unsustainable. This looks like the Moses Moody we've always thought he could be, but he just has never really had the ability to be on the Warriors.
You know, I think it's like a perfect kind of like coalescence of a lot of things. Podz and Moody were playing well before the trade, but then, you know, you add this extra element with like a true number 2 star, and they don't have to rely on unsustainable looks. They can just rely on easy shots. Like how many open threes did Moses shoot tonight? He took 8 of them, probably 5, 6 were just wide open. But I mean, who's been the biggest beneficiary? I mean, I guess you can say Moses. Moses had a season high tonight, but Podz has been amazing next to Jimmy. Buddy looks so much better with Jimmy here. It's everybody, man. Like that's what a star player does. And that's why all that talk the last couple of years about like, oh, like this guy doesn't move the needle, that guy doesn't move the needle, like Siakam or whoever, like true superstars, true stars do move the needle. They make everyone around them better. And part of the reason we haven't seen this from Moses before is maybe he did have the ability to do it last year, but the roster didn't allow him to do it. Now they have a roster where he can be that guy.
He's worse than Wiggins, but he's essentially the same type of player as Wiggins, which is a 3-and-D player. And those guys are super valuable, but only in context of having playmakers around them. And, you know, he's not Klay Thompson, but also I think he's more explosive than like a Danny Green, who is like the gold standard of this type of player traditionally. You know, maybe I'm dating myself. Maybe I'm old now. Or like a KCP, honestly. Like KCP is a hell of a player, a hell of a defender too. But I think Moses is a guy who in this role can give you 15 points per game. Can give you like, he's not going to give you the 60 3/4 like a Klay Thompson, where he's an all-star or something like that. But like, he can give you a little more than the, you know, the true role player, like, you know, 30 minutes, he takes 5 threes and scores 10 points guy. So living in the middle of those two ranges, and it really is to your point about the fact that he gets to play a pure 3-and-D role. Like, yeah, he every now and then he's got to make a decision on ball, but mostly he's kind of the guy who's in the corner when it goes ping, ping, Jimmy finds you on a kick out. You know, he's the guy who's cutting off of the split action instead of being the guy who has to run the split action, which is like what he's meant to be. And it's honestly what we thought he was going to be when he was drafted. They just didn't have that playmaker for him to play off of.
No, absolutely. And I think it's a good point that he is more explosive than as a scorer than the normal 3 and D type because like he can drive a closeout. He's
Mhm.
got good length to finish inside if it's not totally contested and congested near the rim. Like, he's a much better scorer than like an Alex Caruso. And Caruso's obviously a much better defender, but Caruso can't drive a closeout like Moses can. Like Moses can, create a little bit like he had a great like hesitation in and out move on Keegan late in the game and like a one-handed floating layup. He can do stuff like that. He had a nice floater early. He can once in a while like get to a step back. Like he has a little bit more to his game than just 3 and D. But I think what this really allows him to do is just to continue to build confidence. So you'll see more of those elements in his game. Like you'll see the floater, you'll see the step back, and he'll just kind of continue to like grow because he can just be himself instead of having to be like a guy who's like creating for anybody else.
And same thing for Pods, who's obviously not the shooter. Moses is. He's actually been shooting the ball well. Tonight he didn't. But um he the beginning of the season, they're just like, all right, second unit's yours. Probably unfair for a team that had ambitions beyond being the 10 seed. And now you bring in someone like Jimmy, and Pods can just play off of him. He can play as kind of that like weak side, swing. He gets to make a play off of a closeout, gets a cut. Isn't asked to be like Steve Nash of the second unit. Can play kind of the same type of role that someone like a Derek White plays for Boston, right?
Yeah. Austin
And
Reeves.
exactly those type of guys. He gets to play off of the main guy. He gets to be a secondary, third playmaker, creator off of the main guys. And I mean, he looks awesome. Looks just better than he looked as a rookie. This is what I thought we were going to see from him this
Same.
year. And maybe it is as simple as they just need to insert Jimmy, and everyone slots into a role that's more comfortable for them, that's more in line with their skill set. Like sometimes I feel like we just say the same shit.
we're a broken record right now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the thing that always stands out about Pods when he's going well, he's just so goddamn smart. Like
Mhm.
he had a cut late in the first half there where Draymond like faked a three and he just cut backside, got a wide open layup. He just makes so many smart plays in transition and in chaos situations. And guys like that are extra valuable with the Warriors because you're always kind of in those chaos situations. Steph's creates those just by his nature. Right. But I mean, he had that step back in the third quarter tonight, like from behind the backboard. You can just see the confidence growing in him. And now he's always sharing the floor with at least one of Steph or Jimmy, and a lot of the times with both. And so, like you said, he just gets to be Austin Reeves or Derek White or that type of player where he's never the primary guy because he's not ready for that. Maybe one day he is. That's obviously the hope is that he gets there one day. But right now, this is the perfect role for him. And he's just playing really, really good basketball. And like, I feel like 20 points, he's not going to score 20 every night, but I feel like on the nights where you need it, he's mostly going to be able to do it because of the way he's playing.
I'm so ready to see this team play better competition, to be
Same.
honest with you. Like, just they probably need another 5 or so games just to like truly get the timing down. Like, to be honest, it's kind of wild how good they look given the fact Jimmy's had what, 3 practices. He joined the team, no practices, gets thrown in the mix, plays some games, all-star break. Apparently he went to Dubai. Um, and, but it's like they just, even if he was here for the All-Star break, it's not like Steph was practicing with them, which is the most important thing. There is an integration process, and playing the worst teams does help in that process. But I'm ready to see this team play some better opponents.
I think what it shows is just how important basketball IQ is. It's
Yeah.
always underrated. And Jimmy's fit in so well because he's an incredibly smart player. Like
Mhm.
you're hard pressed to find like one or two dumb plays from the guy in any game. Like he's just always constantly making the right play. And it's just like little jabs, little body blows. And then eventually, they knock you out. And that's what high IQ teams do. It's not always going to be like the most flashy style. And I think that's what like the front office started to chase after for a while, like with Wiseman, with Kaminga, like you're chasing after like these high flyers, these super athletic young guys. And yeah, that's valuable in its own right. But at the same time, the IQ almost always wins at the
Well,
top level.
you get it conceptually. It's like we have this super smart core and we want to supplement them with athleticism that alleviates some of the things that go as you age. Like on the most surface level, it's completely logical, but then it comes down to execution, can those young guys actually play at the mental speed of the older guys you want them to? Do you have the right balance? Do they have the right skill set to play off those guys? Do they want to be the guys who play off of those? Like, all of that comes into it. And, that's why it didn't work, obviously. But like the whole idea behind it, yeah, maybe it's pie in the sky, but like the idea, like, I think everyone would get behind the idea of like draft and develop around Steph and Draymond as they age, as opposed to selling everything off. It's just any plan's only as good as the execution. It's really just that simple, right? Like things look different if it's Franz Wagner and Tyrese Halliburton, right?
Mhm.
Like that sort of thing, right? So it is what it is. We've gone through the whole thing, and here they are.
Yeah, but I mean, I think just having a second star the whole time probably would have aided in some of this. It probably would have eased some of the
Sure.
growing pains, And you're talking about, do they have enough scoring? A couple minutes ago. I think they do when Kuminga comes back. I genuinely do, because I feel that same thing for little stretches, like when Steph comes out in the first or third quarter. I'm like, oh man, or when Steph's in there with like Looney and GP2 and like a couple other bench guys. I'm like, this could get tight because they can't score. But you add Kuminga to that mix, that's, I don't know, 15 easy points a game, 20 if he's going
Mhm.
well. So I think if he can buy in and accept the right role, and I think it's important that they're winning right now, because then he has
Mhm.
to come back and accept that role. He can't be like, oh, you guys stink without me. They continue to win. Kuminga has no choice but to accept the role that he's given when he comes back.
Yeah. By the way, we didn't even mention it, but Draymond had one of the best
Oh,
triple single games you're ever gonna see. Like, I know it's always used as an insult, and I know why he rubs people the wrong way, but it's like, just watch the game, man. He's so like, there are very few people who can just control a game without shooting a basketball, and he's one of them.
he was unbelievable in that third quarter. It kind of
Yeah.
started with that like 3-on-1 where he blocked the Monk lob. And then it
Mhm.
was just like he was locked in. He made like 6 or 7 plays in the next 6 minutes where he just disrupted everything. And basically, like, he made the game a blowout. Like within
Mm.
4 minutes, it went from like, okay, this is kind of getting tight to, all right, this thing's over. And he's just, I mean, like you said, I know why it rubs people the wrong way, and I've been frustrated with him at times this year, but he was unbelievable tonight.
Um,
And you can tell that he believes in this team. Like, he said it over All-Star break, and this
yeah.
is he looks like an absolute different guy. Like, this is not the guy we saw the first half of the season.
He saw Shane and meet off, and he's like, I'm beating that guy. I'm just kidding. Sorry. It's just
Shout out Skims.
sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh
Let's talk another sponsor, huh? All right. Late Years Podcast is brought to you by Factor. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right, feel great, no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals that are tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. So eat smart with Factor today. Get started at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast and use code Factor Podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Guys, you know what I'm going to talk about. Let's talk body spec. Talk about why you guys need to get a DEXA scan to start your fitness journey. All right, what's a DEXA scan? DEXA scan is a highly accurate method of measuring your body's composition. So we all stand on a scale. Oh, 187. Oh, 202. Who really cares what you weigh? You're trying to figure out if you're healthy, if you're in shape, if you're trending the right way. And that's why a DEXA scan really helps. Find out your body fat percentage, which everyone's curious about. Everyone's heard about, like, this pro athlete has 4% body fat or something like that. Like, newsflash, you probably don't. But you're curious what your body fat is. Lean muscle mass, how much actual muscle mass versus fat do you have, visceral body fat, like the fat around your organs, the things that like really measure, are you in shape versus are you not? That's what BiSpec lets you do. And what they do is they'll come to you with a mobile van, and you can do it for only $45. Traditionally, this is like a $200, $300, $500 thing that's really only been accessible to pro athletes. Body Specs made it accessible to everyone. So go to bodyspec.com, use the code LIGHTYEARS45, Bay Area or LA, sign up, mobile van. They'll come to you 15 minutes, get your results, start your fitness journey. Dude, I hesitate to say the vibes are immaculate, but like I am in such a buy mood with this team right now. Like they're going to probably hit some form of adversity in this last 26 games, but I'm very much believing in the composition of Steph, Draymond, Jimmy can figure it out. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from guys like Moses and Podz. I'm honestly really excited to get Kuminga back just to see what he brings. Because at some point they need someone over 6'7". Quentin Post might be the most fun player in the league. Dude, the confidence of a rookie. Like, do you watch the way he shoots the ball and the way he just like yells at the bench? Like, yeah, fucking hit. Like, it's so.
He's a real shooter, man. A real shooter. Yeah. He lets that thing fly and is not scared at all. He leaves a little bit to be desired as a driver and finishing in the paint. But hey, man, if you're going to make threes at 40%, I'm not going to complain.
It's just, I mean, Looney's always going to do what he does. GP2 is always great to throw out there. Like, I like this team. I like my mood. The vibe ship might just be my mood, honestly. Like, I feel so good about the direction of this team. And, I'm like looking at the standings right now. I've got 26 games left. And, I don't want to do standings watch every episode, but they did win tonight. Mm-hmm. That does push them above the Kings. They're at 29 and 27. Let's see if this is reloaded real quick. No. They play the Mavericks on Sunday.
Massive.
They win on Sunday. By the way, it was a massive loss that they had last time, but like they win on Sunday. Now they're tied with the Mavericks in the loss column. One back of the Timberwolves for the 7th seed. Do you think it's possible for them to get to 6? Actually, possible is not the right word. It's clearly possible for them to get to the 6. Do you think they will?
You can't ask me that question right now. Now,
you can waffle. I'm not gonna hold this against you like the Levine stuff.
I think they can genuinely do it. I honestly like the way I'm feeling after tonight. I think they will. I mean, you said what, 18-9, and that's an outstanding winning percentage. Like that's like a 60-something win pace over the course of a season.
It's a 56 win. It's a 56 win pace. Yeah.
Why not 60 win pace? Why not go 20-7? Like that's how I'm feeling after watching them tonight. It might be overreaction. The Kings aren't that good. They're a solid team, but they're not going to make any real noise in the playoffs. But I mean, Clippers already dropped their first game after the break. They have a tough schedule after this break. I want to say they have like a top 5 ranked strength of schedule for the rest of the season. Like they have some tough games. And I don't know, man. I think I just really believe, like you said, in this core of Steph, Dre, and Jimmy, and then what's around them, like especially with the way the younger guys are playing. Like I've just been so impressed with the way that Moses and Podz are playing. And if they continue that, and then you add Kuminga into the fold and he buys in and he plays the right role, why can't they get to 6? Like I don't see a reason why they can't. Like 8 feels like the floor, honestly, especially if they win on Sunday. 8 feels like the absolute floor at this point, and then it's just about how high they can get.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm looking at this like my whole thing is, I don't think Anthony Davis is coming back. You listen to the way they're talking about him.
Yeah,
they don't want to. They don't want to announce it, given the fan sentiment around that trade. I don't think they're ready to announce. Oh, and we rushed him, and he got rehurt, and he's out until April. Because that's what it seems like to me. No sources, just reading between the lines. Get my what's my version of the body language doctor? The Bill Simmons body language doctor. It's I know the team spin.
The vibes doctor. The
vibes doctor. That's where I'm gonna go. Yeah. The vibes of petition. That's what I'll call myself right now. I don't know. They don't they're actually really good without AD too. That's a funny
Yeah.
part. But that sucks. Minnesota, the Randall for Cat trade could not be more disastrous. They feel like they're gonna lose in the play-in to me. They look
Yeah.
like they're the opposite of good vibes. They look like we hate each other. Everyone's waiting to get to the offseason because we know this marriage isn't gonna last beyond that. And it's a miserable team, right? The
Yeah.
Lakers, what do you think of the Lakers?
God, they lost to Charlotte the other night. They barely beat Portland in Portland. They needed 40 from LeBron to beat Portland. And
And
Portland's
by the
playing
way,
good ball.
Luka didn't play in that game. I think it
Yeah.
made it easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you see his quote after the Charlotte game? He literally just said, "I'm overweight." Like he's admitting it. And I mean, how long is it going to take him to get back in shape? It's going to take him at least a couple weeks, maybe a month. I don't think the Lakers will slide that far. I know they have a really tough schedule, but they'd have to lose. I mean, they'd have to play like 500 ball at best to drop that far, and like I just don't see that happening. But yeah, I'm really thinking 6 seed especially after tonight. Before the break, I was like, okay, they're playing good ball. They look solid. Like Jimmy's obviously a good addition. They're a better team now. But after tonight's game and just like the sheer domination, and it was, for the most part, it was just, we're better than you and we're going to win this game by 10 to 20 points. And it's been so long since I felt that, like during the course of a game. Even like early in the season, they were doing that. And like, I think we were deluding ourselves a little bit, saying, oh, like they're back. But I think in the back of our mind, we really kind of knew they weren't. This did not feel fake. It did not feel unsustainable. It wasn't based on shooting 50% from three. This was just a good old fashioned shit kicking. And yeah, I don't see a way they don't get to 7, but 6 feels very, very achievable at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think the Lakers are very prime for a slide. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. But like, how far are they going to slide?
I don't know. I don't see LeBron trying to adapt to playing with Luka, and Luka also looks so far out of shape. The whole thing, like I could see them going 6-9 over their next 15. Something where like not like just where they lose more than they win type of thing. And the next thing you know,
That's 30 losses.
They're one up. They're one up on the 7 seed or something like that. I feel like they're not quite out of it. Houston and above feels unreachable. Even Houston knows who they are, even if they're young and they probably aren't going to get out of the first round, and that they're just probably not going to lose enough games to actually be in that mix. So I'm gonna stick with that. That's my thought right now. That's my Kool-Aid thoughts right now.
Yeah. I think Eric in the chat brings up something fun. Is this team better than 2022? And we can't say that yet. Do you think they have the potential to be better by the playoffs?
No.
Yeah.
I think too many good role players on the 2022 team. Too many good pieces. Look, I don't know if Jordan Poole will ever be as good as he was on that team. He shot 50, 40, 90 in the playoffs. He had a 32, 7, and 8 game against the Grizzlies. Like, he was phenomenal. Obviously, that was the best Wiggins has ever played. Shout out our guy, Jerry Stackhouse, for pointing it out today.
That was brutal.
Otto Porter, everyone talks about how unsung he is, but it's like, having a stretch big who can rebound their position and defend, like, they're not easy to find. So,
Moses Moody?
Maybe. I don't know. I personally, the Jimmy construct is more my personality type. I'm a little more into it. Mm-hmm. But I can't go there. I just can't do it. They won a title. They did. Yeah, sure. Honestly, not a tough playoff run for them. Like, what were they, 16-5?
Yeah, no game sevens.
16-6 through the playoffs. Yeah. 5, 6, 5. Yeah. It doesn't get easier than that. I mean, I guess it does, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a pretty decisive run. So no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I don't think they can be better this year. but I think you make the right tweaks in the offseason, you have a better chance, or you have a chance to be better than that 2022 team. And I think the league is probably better as a whole. There's, Boston. I don't think there was anybody like Boston or as they are now. Like that Boston.
Boston's much better than that Boston. Correct.
Much better. And I think OKC is probably better than that Boston team. Cleveland might be better than that Boston team. But, I think with the right tweaks this offseason, the Warriors can easily get back to that level.
I think this Boston is better than that Boston team. I think Denver is better than that Boston team. Not sold on OKC, to be honest with you. You're probably right on Cleveland. I don't know what to think of Milwaukee, to be honest with you.
I'm not a believer, but Giannis.
Kuz is shipping their vibes though.
It was a nice addition. I think people forgot that the guy, he played championship level basketball in 2020. Say what you want about the bubble championship, but he accepted that role, and that was the question.
He's a good player. He's just
annoying.
He's probably not as good as he thinks he is. Yeah, very annoying. So Draymond suffers from this too. Sometimes people let how annoying he can be cloud their judgment of how good he is. He's fucking good, dude.
Yeah, he's really good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm so excited, man. Like you said, I cannot wait till they play better competition, till we get some real tests, till we see how they stack up against like legitimate contenders. Because right now I'm feeling like it's going to look good. I think they have Denver coming up fairly soon. I haven't really looked at the schedule beyond Sunday. But yeah, I'm just excited to see them get tested. I'm excited to see Kuminga come back. And I think this team has like a real chance to make noise in the playoffs. And I really haven't felt that way since 2022. Like 2023, we got an all-time Steph performance in that first round series.
And then
we were just overmatched against the Lakers. Like they were probably never going to win that series. They just didn't have enough. But yeah, it's the most, and I feel like a broken record at this point. It's the most excited I've been about Warriors basketball in 36 months.
Dallas at home, Charlotte at home, and then you go on the road. Orlando, who's not really playing great ball right now, but they're not a bad team. Philly, who's dumpster fire. Charlotte, New York, Brooklyn. They come back for Detroit, Portland, Sacramento. I mean, it's a pretty easy stretch. Yeah. Like, even though you got a long road trip in there, like you should go 7-3, 8-2 over these next 10. You really should. For me, I guess the real question is the question everyone had, if they were being honest with themselves, which is, Jimmy's old, Jimmy's injury prone. Like, can they stay healthy through this run? If they stay healthy through this run, I'm calling 7.5, 8 wins over these next 10 comfortably. That sort of thing. But that's always a question with these older teams. Steph's going to turn 37 this year.
Yeah. What, March?
Draymond's turning 35 during that road trip. Well, how's he turning? He's turning. Oh.
And then.
Oh, they're losing in New York. His 35th birthday's in New York. I'm sorry. They might go back to back L's there.
He might be a healthy scratch that night.
Oh, is he gonna be sitting with sunglasses on the sideline?
Yes. Draymond, as a guy in my 30s who does have a drink on occasion, I can relate. I feel your pain.
It hurts. It hurts more. It hurts more the older you get. So
I was so mad at myself after Super Bowl Sunday. It's like, you can't do this anymore, man. You're not built like this anymore.
Oh, they're gonna be in New York. They're gonna be in New York for his birthday week.
Oh my God.
He's gonna have a birthday week. That's gonna be bad. And then they're gonna go home to Detroit. He's gonna be detoxing with his family. No, sorry. So he's coming back home to the Bay against Detroit. Mistake.
So
I might restate my expectations to 7 being my goal.
Yeah, but seven's a great goal. You go 7-3. I think you're happy with that, right? And then there's a fun little stretch there in the middle of March. You got New York, Denver, Milwaukee in a row. I think that's where we'll really see, like, okay, who are these guys? You go 2-1 in that stretch.
You've had 15 games with Jimmy. Yep. You've theoretically integrated enough. You're playing.
Coming back.
This is that mid-March stretch is kind of the, how do you call it? Like this is when everyone's really pushing for playoff seeding. the most. So yeah, man. So it's gonna be a fun stretch of Warriors basketball. We're back.
We are so back.
Appreciate everyone.
Thanks, everybody.